and maybe they were looking for like a girl they wanted to take, but they thought this one's too dumb. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica, and as you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about these random things that have happened in the last decade that are kind of really strange. So, I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun to share. Instead of making these each individual videos, I just wanted to do like mini stories within it, so I will add the little video markers here for you, so you'll know, like, if you don't feel like hearing about the Lamborghini story, then you could skip to the Seth Rogan story or something. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you want to stick around for more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button down below. So let's just get into it. So the first story I wanted to tell you all about is pretty crazy. This goes back to high school and at the very beginning of the decade, and it was a really weird evening. I was with my high school sweetheart at the time. In my hometown, you have what's called the island. So like there's like the main part where everyone lives, and then you drive over a bridge and you get to the island, and there's like a lot of pools and hot tubs in the beach, and friends just hang out there. So let me put up a map while I tell this story because it would make a lot more sense to follow along. So we're about to leave the island, and we're in this like area, and we come to a stop, and there's a T in the road. So there's a stop sign, and the way that we're facing, it tees off. So there's no one around, it's in the middle of the night, and the only person that's there is in front of us at the stop sign. It's a red, I think it was a Toyota Tacoma if I remember correctly. And we pull up behind him, and he has his brake lights on. And it just tees in the road, so we were just gonna, you know, go back to the highway. And this guy's not moving, like, from the stop sign. So we're like, is this guy okay? Like, what's going on? So my ex-boyfriend and I get concerned for this guy, and we're like, I wonder what's going on. Let's get out of our car to go help him. So we go up next to him, and he looks so out of it. Like, we didn't know if he was on drugs. He looked like a zombie or a ghost. Like, I've never seen anyone look like that in my entire life. I don't know if he was like overdosing on drugs or something. So we try to open the door and knock on the window, and this guy is not answering. And we're just like, dude, like, you're driving your car, like, can you put it in park? We start freaking out. I ended up starting to cry. I was completely freaking out. This poor guy was just by himself. And so his foot was on the brake. And we're trying to wake him up. Meanwhile, one of us was calling the police, trying to get their help to come over there and everything like that. And this guy, being like asleep or whatever, starts rolling forward. And we're at a T. So he's going straight through the road. There's nowhere he can go. And it gets more crazy from there. So I'm like banging on this guy's door. We're like screaming, yelling like, hey, wake up, like, what are you doing? He goes straight through the T. And because we're on the island, there's a lot of water around. And what we didn't realize is that there's like some apartments over here and like a little cul-de-sac right here. There was a huge canal. Like, I don't know if it was a canal or a waterway. I don't know the technical like term of it, but there was a giant thing of water right there. But you couldn't see it because there was a small patch of grass, like a miniature field. So you didn't know that if you went lower, it was water. This guy drives straight. We're screaming, jumping up and down. He goes up the curb into the little grassy area and into the water. And we could hear it. Like, you couldn't see it because it was really, really dark. You couldn't hear like a giant splash because that's not really like the accurate noise that it made, but you could hear the water. Like, this guy just straight up drove into the water, and we're just like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. The car doors are locked. He couldn't answer. He's clearly alive. He's just like overdosed or sleeping or something. And I was just crying, freaking out. Finally, the cops come. They don't believe us. It's not like we were like drunk kids or something. Like, we're very caring people, and we're just so concerned for this guy. And they're like, oh, well, no one's here. And we're like, bro, go in the freaking water. There's a red Toyota Tacoma with a dead or a possibly dead guy in there. It was like one of the craziest nights of my life. So then the cop goes away. He doesn't believe us. I'm really, really upset that he doesn't believe us because we're stupid kids. And there's a little cul-de-sac. And we're just standing there looking around like, how has no one heard this? And how has no one been on their balcony at the apartments nearby? Like, how did no one see this but us? So we're standing there, and all of a sudden, you know how I said there was a cul-de-sac right here by the waterway? This guy walks around the cul-de-sac like a straight up ghost slash zombie. It had been like 30 minutes. Like the cop had came and gone after we talked to him. Like it had been a while. This guy walks up to us, soaking wet. And we're just like, is that the guy? Like, what the hell? And it's like in the middle of the night, pitch black. And he just walks by and goes to the apartments. And we're like, was that you in the truck? He was like, yeah, my truck's over there. It's fine. And there's some other trucks over there in the water. There's some other cars down there. Like it was a parking lot of the ocean. Mind blown. We never told it. I've never told that story to anyone before. So there you go, YouTube. It was very scary. No one believed us. Yeah, and if you're in my hometown and you want to go try to find the red Toyota Tacoma, yeah, I added the map, so have fun going to look for the truck or whatever trucks this guy thinks are also in the canal. We thought he died. That was pretty terrifying. Okay, now on to story number 2 out of my bizarre stories of the decade. So, back when I was in college, I was probably like maybe 20 or 21 years old, and I had no self-worth. I had no self-confidence, no self-worth, nothing. I looked at myself like a piece of trash. I just thought I was completely worthless, yada yada. So what did I think was a great idea because I had no self-worth and no self-confidence? Modeling. I was invited to model in calendars and all kinds of stuff and bikini modeling, yada yada, and I went ahead and did it. No, I've never done like gross stuff, if you know what I mean. But yes, I have done like bikini modeling back in the day. Looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many creepy men exploit young women because they don't feel confident and beautiful. And so they're like, oh, I'll take these beautiful pictures for you. And you're like, looking back, I'm like, ew, gross, creepy. Anyway, for one of the photo shoots, I was in Houston and I was doing the photo in either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. I cannot remember, but I remember the interior of the car was like this orangey tan color. Like I remember it very vividly. So I'm with the photographer and like we're shooting or whatever, and they're like, oh, the car owner wants to come by. Because like it wasn't the photographer's car, obviously, it was like some random person's car. And I'm like, okay, being like the dum-dum that I was at the time. And so this guy shows up and he's like maybe 28 or 30 years old, and you could tell like he was probably Colombian or something similar to a Colombian type of person. And he's like, do you want to go for a ride in the car? And me, I'm in like a bra and underwear, or it was either swimsuit or bra and underwear. And I'm like, sure, let's go for a ride in this car. Because that sounds like a great idea. And so we go around the block, and looking back like, wow, yo girl was dumb. So we go for a ride around the block, and I vividly remember this gross piece of pizza in the passenger seat floorboard. And in my head I was like, if you bought a car this nice, why would you not take care of it? And why would you leave an old, cold piece of pizza on the floor? Like, I don't know why I never forget that. And so, like, me just being me, I was like, so what do you do? Blah, 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 like making conversation. And he was like, I'm in the coffee business. And in my head I thought, man, I gotta get into the coffee business when I'm older. And I was like, oh, what do you do with coffee? And he was like, I do a little bit of everything. I'm into the Colombian coffee business. And I was like, cool, that sounds really great. And looking back, I'm an idiot. Because we all know what Colombian coffee really is. And what's even sadder about that story is that I realized approximately 2 months ago that he was not in the coffee business. And that I'm naive, or I was naive then. Yeah, I'll just let y'all guess what kind of business he was in. And also that was so sketchy because this guy could have literally driven off with me. Like, sex trafficking is so high in Houston, and I'm almost certain like someone within that crowd was affiliated with that. And maybe they were looking for like a girl they wanted to take, but they thought this one's too dumb. But yeah, looking back, I was definitely in a very dumb position. It was very bizarre circumstances, and I can't believe I did that. Okay, now on to the last story of the video. And that is the Seth Rogan Possum story. Okay, so I was on set, this was probably like 2 years ago in LA at Sony. And I was working on this show, and Seth Rogan just so happened to be there that day. And he was like co-directing or something, I don't even remember. And there was maybe 30 of us in the scene, and then there was the 2 lead actors, a possum, Seth Rogan and like the crew. And we were in lab coats. and we were like just supposed to be lab coating while they like blew up this possum. I'm not gonna say what show this is from, but if you figure it out, feel free to go look for it. I've tried to look for this clip before and I can't find it. It could have possibly been cut because that happens all the time, but so basically what happened in this scene was that this possum, like, I guess was gonna explode, like there was a bomb or something, and then they were gonna do something with the possum's stuff, you know? I don't wanna say the word because it's gross, but it's not pee, it's something else. So they were trying to collect the possum stuff, and they thought that it would be funny if the possum's juices exploded all over the classroom. Thanks, Seth Rogan. And they decided, let's get a close-up shot of this explosion happening, of this white substance. And they decided, let's pick 2 people out of the 30 lab coat people to be up front, close and center, close-up shot. And they picked this old guy. And they picked me. So I'm like, great, here we go. This is not what I signed up for today. By the way, it wasn't real stuff, duh. It was like condensed milk and some sort of soap or something. I just remember it like smelled like soap. And yeah, they got a close-up shot. And what happened when they said action is there's Seth Rogan and these other set people, and they have water bottles full of this substance, and what they were supposed to do was cut a hole in it and kind of like, you know, spray it through the hole. And Seth Rogan is like, no, it would be even funnier if you just took off the lid of the water bottle and threw it at them. Not the water bottle, but like threw the whole thing at them. So I'm like, great. And they're like, okay, action. And you're supposed to just let it completely cover you. And in slow motion, I swear to God, I was like, whoa. And the poor girl behind me, it just got all over her, and I was just like, wow, I'm never gonna think of Seth Rogan the same ever again, because Seth Rogan, you decided to put possum all over me, and I don't appreciate it, but it was really funny looking back on it. But yeah, Seth Rogan was really nice, super chill, pretty sure he was high, but it's California, everyone's high all the time. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. Those were some of the most bizarre stories I have of the decade. I hope you enjoyed my weird life. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!